Bro, is this for real? Is this what Lollapalooza looks like right now? There's no shot this is real. Dude, what are people doing, dude? I've been there before and it's been this packed, but holy it's a pandemic. Calm down, people. And then there's this. Louisiana is a 7-day rolling average of new cases in Louisiana. And fucking shit's popping off, dude. I feel like conservatives look at something like this and they go, fuck, man, COVID was doing so good. And then, you know, there was all these like vaccinations that were happening. And like, that was a big setback for COVID. I think we got to pump those numbers up. And luckily they did. Republicans look at this as like a sign of progress. You know, they're like, it means it's the freedom chart, brother. That's the goddamn freedom chart, brother. Now, I've said this already. I'm a firm believer in vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, and I'm going to use France as an example. France is now officially requiring proof.
With those who are unvaccinated on full display, the clashes and protests in France. That country now requiring vaccination passports for restaurants, bars, museums, theaters. And French President Emmanuel Macron saying to those who refuse to be vaccinated, it's time you stay at home, not us. Here's our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, tonight.
So, of course, this is how the French reacted to this. But, hey, you want to know what was the positive part of this, dude? France's vaccine signups in the 24-hour period immediately after was insane. Macron gave a warning originally back in July 13th, and 1 million people signed up to make vaccine appointments. And then as of yesterday, I think like, what was it? Like the vaccination appointments fucking skyrocketed. Oh, here was the article I was looking for. 3 million people have booked vaccinations in France as Macron announces COVID restrictions. France doesn't get a lot of things right, but this is one of those things where they did get right. Biden's family has moved towards a vaccine mandate for federal. Biden finally has moved towards. Yeah, I know that they're doing federal vaccine mandates, which is good. I think it's fucking ridiculous that it's so incomprehensible to advocate for such a good policy, but it's not very surprising because America. Okay, there's a new CDC document that warns Delta variant spreads like chickenpox.
Critical new information about the Delta variant of the coronavirus. The paper has obtained an internal CDC document which contains urgent new warnings about the virus. The Post reports, quote, the Delta variant of the coronavirus appears to cause more severe illness than earlier variants and spreads as easily as chickenpox, according to the internal federal health document that also argues officials must acknowledge the war has changed. The Post goes on to report, quote, it cites a combination of recently obtained, still unpublished data from outbreak investigations and outside studies showing that vaccinated individuals infected with Delta may be able to transmit the virus as easily as those who are unvaccinated. Vaccinated people infected with Delta have measurable viral loads similar to those who are unvaccinated and infected with the variant.
Every federal government employee will be asked to attest to their vaccination status. Anyone who does not attest or is not vaccinated will be required to mask no matter where they work, test 1 or 2 times a week. If, in fact, you're unvaccinated, you present a problem to yourself, to your family.
Biden's telling me I don't need to die. Fuck you, Biden. I will die a patriot before I listen to you, you baby eater. You understand me? I'm a goddamn American. I'm not a communist Chinese. I will die like a goddamn American from COVID-19, which is a biological weapon that China made to destroy America. But it also simultaneously doesn't need a vaccine because it's both deadly because China wants to destroy us, but also not deadly, even though my parents died of COVID-19. You understand me? None of this makes sense. It doesn't matter. I'm angry all the fucking time. Fox News keeps feeding me a healthy diet of hatred, and I no longer can form thoughts on my own. It doesn't matter. I'm just an angry fucking hog. My parents would kick me out of the house if I get vaccinated. Dude, that's psychotic, dude. That's like borderline child abuse, bro. I swear to God. What the fuck is wrong with people, man? Fucking, I don't know. I don't know how to help you, underage chatters. But if you're 18, dude, fucking lie to them. Lie to them. Go get your vaccine and lie to them. You already do do that to go out and fucking sneak out and hang out with your friends and smoke weed and shit. Just lie to them. I don't even know. There might be instances where like you're allowed to consent to get this vaccine without your parental consent. You're allowed to like go out and get the vaccine even if you're underage. Maybe. Like there's medical exceptions usually for like abortions and stuff. So you might be able to do that as well. Yeah, there's vaccine.org shows minor consent laws by state. There's resources on here as well. If you're like if you're underage and your parents are not letting you fucking get a vaccine, you can go to vaccine.org, look up your state, figure out what the fuck's going on there. It's kind of sad. No, it's not. It's just kind of America, dude. That's just how it is. Because in this fucking country, unfortunately, the incredible scientific achievement of like mRNA vaccines are considered bad. That getting vaccinated against a fucking disease that can kill you is seen as like a political issue, a culture war issue. It's so idiotic. Americans love being proud about their ignorance. They think it's like fucking a point of freedom. And the dumber we get, the dumber our fucking representatives are, or the more they feed into that ignorance, the worse we become as a society, the more dangerous it becomes. There's nothing I can say about it outside of just like, dude, protect your own damn self. People unironically think it's fucking freedom to just like be an idiot. Like, it's my freedom, brother. So these are the slides that came out. So first, this is Ashish Jha. He's a researcher at, I guess, Brown. Works on Brown Public Health. So let's talk about what's inside the slides of the Delta variant. First of all, it is really, really contagious, like more contagious than Ebola, Spanish flu, and probably chickenpox. Really contagious. So Delta variant is way more transmissible than a lot of these like super contagious fucking diseases, right? So that's terrifying. But fear not, 87% efficacy for the fucking 2-shot mRNA vaccines. So ultimately, if you got double shots, if you got both jabs, like you're still pretty protected against the worst symptoms, like the pneumonia-like symptoms that you get, like temporary lung damage. You still might lose your loss of taste and smell, which sucks. And we don't know what the long-term complications are of getting COVID, even if you are vaccinated. But you're in a really, really good situation. Are you cucked if you're J&J? No. No. It's still better than not being incredibly better than not being vaccinated. And it's still better than being fucking protected with a flu shot. Second, it appears to cause more serious disease if you get infected. I've been worried this is the case, but certainly not sure. This data here is suggestive, but not definitive. So reasonable to say Delta could be more severe. In Singapore, they found that you needed a higher odds of oxygen requirement, ICU admission, or death and pneumonia. In Scotland, there's a higher odd of hospitalization. In Canada, there were higher odds of hospitalization and death. But the vaccines are working. Okay, 80 to 90% effectiveness against symptomatic infection and 90 to 95% effectiveness against severe disease. So 90 to 95% chance against hospitalization and like the more severe long-term side effects of COVID is remarkable. I cannot repeat this. Like as far as medicine goes, as far as vaccinations goes, this is insane. This is unheard of. Okay. People think like, why not 100%? Like, no. Like I said, the flu vaccine, the influenza flu vaccine that's seasonal, that changes every fucking year, is oftentimes only 30 to 40% effective. Okay? Nothing is 100%. Ever. That's what the data from other countries say, but what about data from our country? Glad you asked. In our country, why the fuck does this go up for Canada? Canada Delta. Okay. Right now, about 35,000 Americans that are vaccinated were having breakthrough infections weekly. Sound high? Actually, probably 300K Americans that are having infections weekly. And given that 50% of Americans are vaccinated, that's a rough vaccine effectiveness of around 88%. I mean, that's kind of shit data for the most part, but you know, he's just kind of throwing it out there. Greater risk of disease, hospitalization, and death among unvaccinated versus vaccinated people. Here are the national estimates. There is an 8-fold reduction in disease incidence if you are fucking vaccinated, fully vaccinated. There is a 25-fold reduction in hospitalizations. 25-fold. You are 25 times more likely to be fucking hospitalized. There's a 25-fold reduction in incidences of death. It is remarkably unlikely. It is incredibly unlikely that you will die or get hospitalized if you are fully vaccinated when you get COVID. And the data, the larger analysis shows this data as well. It corresponds to the fucking data. There's a reason why in the aftermath of the COVID vaccinations, despite the fact that, you know, the economy was reopening and we were like lowering the mask mandates and stuff like that, cases were not increasing until recently when the Delta variant started fucking whipping through the country, starting specifically in not places like New York for the first time, unlike the previous COVID iterations, but this time in southern states like Florida and Louisiana and Missouri, where there's an incredibly low number of adults in comparison to the rest of the country with double vaxxed patients. Protection against severe infection is well above 90%, so the vaccines are working fine. But what about this whole breakthrough infections and spreadability? In vaccinated folks with breakthrough spread? Yes, CDC is now citing several studies showing vaccinated folks with breakthrough infections having similar viral loads to unvaccinated folks with infections. Now, the original data and the opinion before the Delta variant was that if you are vaccinated, there's a very high likelihood that you're not going to have a viral load. You're not going to be able to develop a viral load large enough to be able to fucking spread it to others. Okay? Because it like eliminates the severe symptoms and it eliminates most of the fucking symptoms in general. And it eliminates, the idea was that the speculation was that it is eliminating the most severe aspects of COVID to a degree where your transmission and spreading COVID as a carrier, as a pre-symptomatic carrier, or as a carrier in general, if you are double vaxxed, was lower. But with the Delta variant, it's higher than the regular COVID, the other variants of COVID. These are viral loads, not actual evidence of a similar transmission, but a reasonable assumption. Now, the assumption is Delta variant vaccine breakthrough cases may be as transmissible as unvaccinated cases. So if you get the Delta variant, you're going to have to fucking quarantine. You can't be like, oh, I'm vaccinated, I'll still go outside. Okay? You can't do that. The CDC has modeling that says universal masking is critically important, but they assume no other behavior change like some folks avoiding large gatherings. But you know what their model also said would work great? Near universal vaccinations. So yes, the Delta variant is bad. Our vaccines are good, incredibly good. Breakthrough infections happen. Sometimes they may spread to others. But if enough people get the shot, the pandemic does come to an end. I live in Alberta, and they're getting rid of basically all COVID mandates in August, despite no evidence this is safe to do. This includes making people quarantine. I mean, America's never had a fucking quarantine restriction, so we rarely had a quarantine suggestion rather than like an actual restriction, whether it be international travel or anything. Like, if you travel to Europe right now, you still, in many places, have to quarantine. In the United States, that has never existed and will probably never exist, unfortunately. It's really, really terrible. And the one way that we could have avoided any further restrictions or any sort of rollbacks or any additional restrictions was if we all got vaccinated. And for a brief moment in time, I thought we would. And I was wrong, because conservatives took upon this issue and turned it into a culture war issue. Now, part of the reason why was because they wanted to, continue dividing America along culture war issues. But the second reason was because there is a lot of anti-vaxxer sentiments in America that was pre-baked. And a lot of conservatives love utilizing pre-existing ideas and skepticism and weaponizing it in an effort to, embolden their base, galvanize their audience, and fucking turn this into yet another bold and brave stance that they're taking against those demon rats. So let's watch.
COVID surges across the country. Right-wingers who aren't interested in actually fighting the spread of the disease are busy scapegoating, wait for it, immigrants.
People are coming over at a rate of almost 2 million for the year. They're not tested. They're not vaccinated. That is the biggest influx of coronavirus and variations of.
Wrong. It's a complete fabrication, a complete falsehood, absolutely fucking a lie. And even if it was the case, it's not, but even if it was the truth, there's an incredibly easy way to fucking, fix the problem. Mass vaccination campaigns. It's wrong. A lot of the migrants are totally willing and able to get the vaccine. Some of the migrants are already vaccinated. It's a complete lie. Also, they don't even give a fuck. So what are you talking about? Like, you don't care, dude. I thought COVID was fake. Oh, no. All of a sudden, it's real. And, being an anti-vaxxer is no longer a brave and bold stance because, migrants are, in my made-up hypothetical, migrants are the ones who are not vaccinated.
We have people infected with COVID coming across our southern border into Texas, and you all put masks up front here on the people's house?
Understand this. If the Biden administration ends Title 42, they will be releasing illegal immigrants in your community who are COVID positive.
I don't understand. Like, these guys are making it seem like, it's bad and wrong that people are not vaccinated. Oh, wait, it's only bad and wrong when people are not vaccinated when they're illegal immigrants, right? That's what it is, right? I mean, it's totally made up, by the way. Not a real issue at all. Totally made up. I mean, how can you not see this? Trigger warning, Ted Cruz. I know. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I'm sorry. I did not mention that Ted Cruz is on the camera, on the scene. I should have fucking gave you guys a trigger warning. I did not know he was going to pop in. I'm sorry. I'm giving it to you now, okay? Yes. Your virgin eyes are now unfortunately tainted by the mere sight appearance of the melted wax candle Ted Cruz. It's like, this is really fucking racist and dumb, right? To just like falsely say that like undocumented migrants are bringing in COVID into the country or whatever. But what's also frustrating on top of the fucking very clear racial agitation here is how stupid it is. Like, it's such a transparently bad argument to make because you're simultaneously advocating for how brave and bold these people are for not getting vaccinated. but then turning around and being like, but it's the undocumented immigrants that are fucking, you know, bringing in disease. It's like, dude, like your entire base has made it like a moment of pride to not get vaccinated. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It makes me so mad. It's like it's such a clear moment of cognitive dissonance. And it really frustrates me for how stupid it is, dude.
I have a job to protect the safety and health of the people of the state of Texas, and that includes, especially now, preventing President Biden from importing COVID-19 into Texas as well as into the United States.
Like, it's the same guy. Greg Abbott's like saying it's illegal to fucking enforce any sort of like vaccine or mask restrictions or mandates. And then being like, yo, these fucking unvaccinated migrants are coming to Texas and giving everybody COVID. It's like, but you just like, what the fuck? You can't have both of those arguments in the same day, dude. In the same fucking day. It's fucking psychotic, dude. I will go to the Ben Shabibo reversing on masks. They think they can control us. Let's watch.
Strategy. I mean, the amount of bad data that has been purveyed by our supposed public health experts is astonishing. If you want to talk about the people who have actually undermined confidence in our institutions, it's the leaders of these institutions themselves. It's CDC Director Rochelle Walensky going on TV yesterday and suggesting that perhaps 1 out of every 10 people who's vaccinated is going to get a breakthrough case. The actual stats from the CDC suggest that the actual number is more like 1 in every 1,000. It's people like Dr. Fauci suggesting that the CDC has not flip-flopped on masking with regard to vaccination, and then admitting to the Washington Post that he doesn't have actual hard data to back his supposition that higher viral load among the vaccinated than supposed is going to lead to higher levels of viral transmission. These people have been fibbing to us all along. They think that they can control us and not give us the data. If you want to at least make a recommendation on policy, you cannot lie about the data.
For the record, this is what is known as gish galloping, okay? What he did there, this is called gish galloping. That's what that is. When you fucking fire off like a fucking human DDoS attack, a sequence of like cherry-picked data points and false arguments in rapid succession so that addressing every single one of those is impossible if you were to actually debate this person. That's what is known as a gish gallop. It's the most common way that Ben Shapiro argues about anything, any particular thing.
If the CDC and Dr. Fauci and everyone from the White House is telling you that you have to wear masks and that there's imminent danger from the variants, then people who aren't vaccinated are not going to get vaccinated. There's nothing they're going to say which is either clarifying or convincing. And that's the ultimate problem here, because they have forgotten what they're trying to do. Are they trying to scare people, or are they trying to get people vaccinated? Because at this point, neither one is working, and all they have done with the back and forth and the confusion is create massive distrust. And it's really hard to get a clear picture of what's going on.
It's so disingenuous that they routinely create distrust in the vaccine and then turn around and say things like, people just don't trust the government anymore. It's like, I wonder why, you fucking idiot. I wonder why people don't trust these vaccines. I wonder where that mistrust is coming from, dude. Yeah, it must be because of fucking Fauci's flip-flop on mask wearing and vice versa, which, like, yeah, I mean, fuck Fauci, okay? Straight up. But, like, fuck you guys extra hard. Seriously, like, it is kind of funny that Ben is like surrounded by women, but you know, I'm not going to get into that.
With the virus, and even though the virus,
especially that like all of these fucking freaks are vaccinated, dude. Literally vaccinated. Okay, they're all vaccinated. That's the worst part. They're telling your fucking mom and your dad and your grandparents not to get vaccinated, or at least giving them ammunition to be skeptical of the vaccine, while they themselves are fucking protected. That's the worst part about this. Okay, it is the ultimate like liberal bi-coastal elitist hypocrisy, which ironically they all live on the fucking coasts and are elitists. They all hang out with one another. They live in ivory towers and then tell your dumbass fucking parents in Missouri to not get vaccinated while they themselves are fucking vaxxed. Except for Ben, who lives in Nashville, which is, again, libtard central. Come on, dude. He went and he moved to the most libtard area of Tennessee, like, coward. Trigger warning, take cruise. I'm sorry. Oh, God, I did it again. I'm sorry.
Politics. You know what? Yesterday, vaccines worked. Today, they still work, but as a political matter, the Democrats decided they want to control your lives. My view is real simple. we shouldn't have federal government mandate.
It actually feels like I don't know what to say. Like it feels like they feel so evil. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to describe it. Like they're so disgusting, dude. They're so awful. They're so fucking awful, dude. How are you this much an advocate for COVID? Like how can you do this? Do you get off on pain and death and destruction? I do not understand it. Bro, if Godzilla fucking attacked America, conservatives would be like, I'm on the side of Godzilla. Let me tell you something, folks. I'm sick and tired of these goddamn liptards telling me Godzilla does not have a right to fucking burn this goddamn city. Okay? Do you understand me? I'm siding with Godzilla.
President Biden is spending more time going on and talking about voting rights and infrastructure legislation, as opposed to saying, you know what? President Trump did something right with Operation Warp Speed. Now let's all come together and take this vaccine. And
yeah, the real problem is that like President Trump is not getting enough credit. I actually don't even completely disagree with this. I do feel like if they hyped up Trump a little bit more, I mean, he would never do it. He would never like come out and say with his entire chest, like, this is my vaccine. It's very good. You should take it. You're a fucking idiot if you don't. You know, throw him a bone or something. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. Like, I actually don't care. As long as dudes out here are getting vaccinated, like, I'm happy. Okay. But the problem is like, even the Trump fans unironically refuse to cheer him on when he talks about the vaccines. They just sit there and they wait. They're like, boo, get to the fucking fun stuff. Get to the fun stuff. Talk about how, you know, Mexicans are coming to steal our children and Democrats are pedophiles. Why are you talking about the vaccine? Boo, you sold out. Do the snake poem.
Now, no vaccine is 100%. But if you want to follow the science, here's the science. Vaccines work. And so if you have been vaccinated, you should not be put under these mask mandates, as they said from the very beginning that if you've got a vaccine, you don't need to wear a mask. So once again, the Democrats are now doing a 180 and making 0 sense when it comes to...
Dude, data and our interpretation of the data changes with new variants. The Delta variant is delivering fucking hot, juicy loads no matter your vaccination status. Okay, it still has a higher likelihood of not fucking hitting you as hard, but ultimately that's the reality. You're giving viral loads, okay, juicy thick loads, okay, like ropes.
And Emily, if I could just point out something that I think is very important. They need better marketing here. And Julie's absolutely right. They need to be screaming from the mountaintop.
Like, these guys are fucking crying about mask mandates and shit. It's like, dude, we vaccinated people are now wearing masks to protect your audience, the unvaccinated people. It's not like your fucking dumbass audience is going to wear masks anyway. Just shut the fuck up. Like, it would literally be better if they just like did not cover COVID, I think, anymore. There's a reason why we are wearing masks. Is to protect your audience that you are purposely fucking blinding to the truth. It hurts. It breaks my fucking soul, dude. It breaks my mind. It hurts my soul.
And it doesn't even matter if they give the former president credit. They need to be saying the vaccines work. The vaccines are safe. The vaccines are the best in the world. And there was one study that came out recently that said the Pfizer vaccine has actually been increasing women's cup sizes. And that is a phenomenal piece of marketing that I think all Americans could get behind.
I'm so glad I didn't get Pfizer. I don't need any more help in that department.
Damn, she's out here being like, I got big ass titties. Ben Shapiro, why are you laughing at that, dude? That's you fucking lip hungry harlot, you laughing at another woman's titty joke. That's fucked up.
Why isn't that on the front pages? So Ben, I come to you for a bit of prediction here. To Kennedy's point, do you see any type of change in the marketing moving forward? Do you see any type of cognizant shift by the Democrat Party as we enter into 2022, acknowledging the hideous impact that their mixed messaging has had on the American people and likely the permanent damage it's done on their already fractured party? Do you see them acknowledging that at all and making corrections?
Not at all, because for them to acknowledge...
Now we move on to the last part of the equation where they like give advice to the Democrats, like they give a shit, like they fucking care about the future of the Democratic Party. Like, it's so stupid, dude. I love that. And then Democrats will listen to this and be like, yeah, they're actually correct.
If they've botched the public health message would be to take the blame for what they perceive to be Republican failures and for what they want to portray as Republican failures. And again, the big problem here right now is that if you want to incentivize people to get the vaccine, what you should be saying is that the vaccinated have no responsibility to prevent you from getting the disease. You have a responsibility to prevent you from getting a disease. And that responsibility lies in going and getting the vaccine. They're not going to do this because there is no logical endpoint. This all started with flattening the curve so we didn't overwhelm the hospital system. We avoided it. Then it was wait until the vaccine was available. It's available. Then it was wait until everybody's had a chance to get the vaccine. Everybody's had a chance to get the vaccine. So what exactly is the endpoint? There is no endpoint.
I just, fuck, man. I like that Fox News is simultaneously fucking talking about how vaccines are, you know, scary, while also hitting the vaccines are actually very effective, which is why these mask mandates are dumb. Like, please, just let there be one instance, dude. I just don't want to wear a mask to the gym, okay? Luckily now I work out in the open and I get a lot of vitamin D as a consequence of that too. So like,
the crowd goes.
But I just want to go. I want to go to a gym and I want to see like cute girls in fucking, you know, Lululemon pants